Good morning, and thank you for making a little time for me today. I want to start by asking you something you might have thought to yourself on a quiet morning, maybe while the kettle was boiling or as you were watching the birds outside your window. Have you ever woken up and just felt off? Not the usual creaky knee or the lower back that complains a bit when you first get out of bed. We're all familiar with those old friends. I'm talking about a new feeling, something that settles in you and makes you think, that's not right. It's so easy, isn't it, to brush that feeling aside? To tell ourselves, oh, it's just part of getting older, or I must have slept funny. We're from a generation that's good at putting on a brave face, at not making a fuss. But what if that quiet voice, that little nudge from your body, is actually the most important message you'll hear all day? What if it's your body's way of tapping you on the shoulder, trying to get your attention while there's still plenty of time to do something about it? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. We're going to have a calm, honest conversation about 5 specific signs you might notice when you wake up that could be early indicators of cancer. Now, I want you to hear me clearly. This is not about scaring you. Not one bit. Knowledge is not fear. Knowledge is power. It's about replacing that vague worry with clear, actionable understanding. It's about giving you the confidence to listen to your body and, when necessary, to have an informed, firm conversation with your doctor. Because your health, especially at this wonderful stage of life, is your most precious asset, and you are your own best advocate. So, let's begin with one of the most common, and yet most overlooked, signs, a profound, unshakable tiredness. You know the difference between feeling a bit sleepy and the deep weariness I'm talking about. We've all had busy days that leave us ready for a good night's rest. But this is different. This is waking up after a full 7 or 8 hours of sleep and feeling like you haven't slept a wink. It's a fatigue that clings to your bones, that makes the simple act of getting dressed feel like a monumental task. It's the kind of exhaustion that isn't solved by a cup of coffee or an afternoon nap. Now, why would this be a sign of something as serious as cancer? Well, think of it this way. Cancer cells, especially in the early stages, are incredibly active. They're growing and dividing, and they need a tremendous amount of energy to do that. Where do they get that energy? They steal it from you. They consume the nutrients and calories your body needs to fuel your normal activities. So, you're essentially feeding 2 systems at once, your own body and these rapidly dividing cells. It's like trying to heat your entire house with a small furnace while someone has left a window wide open. You're burning through your energy reserves without anything to show for it, leaving you drained from the moment you open your eyes. So, if you find that your get up and go has truly got up and gone, and this feeling persists for more than a couple of weeks without a clear reason, it's your body's way of sending up a flare. It's worth having a chat with your doctor to see what might be causing that energy drain. Now, let's move from how you feel to something you might actually see. The second sign to be mindful of is unexplained weight loss. I'm not talking about the few pounds you might happily shed after deciding to cut back on desserts. I mean a significant, unintentional drop on the scale, say, 10 pounds or more in a month or 2 without any change to your diet or exercise routine. This can be particularly surprising because many of us spend our lives trying to lose a little weight, so when it happens on its own, it can feel like a lucky break. But in this context, it's often the opposite. There are a couple of reasons for this. First, as we just discussed, the cancer cells are using your body's resources. But it goes deeper than that. The cancer can actually change the way your body metabolizes food. It can release substances that interfere with how your body processes proteins and calories, making it very difficult to maintain your muscle mass and normal weight. Your body might start breaking down its own healthy tissues for fuel. It's a bit like having a termite in the woodwork. From the outside, things might look okay for a while, but on the inside, the structure is being subtly, steadily compromised. So, if you notice your clothes are getting noticeably looser, or your family member comments that you're looking a bit thin, please don't just dismiss it. It's one of the most common signals the body sends, and it's a powerful one. And that leads us smoothly into the third sign, which often goes hand in hand with that unexplained weight loss, a significant change in your appetite. I'm sure you can remember a time when you woke up genuinely hungry, looking forward to your breakfast. But perhaps lately, that morning hunger has just vanished. The thought of food in the morning might even be mildly unpleasant. Or, for some, certain foods might taste different, metallic, or just wrong. This isn't just about being a picky eater. Tumors, particularly those in the digestive system like the stomach or pancreas, can cause physical feelings of fullness or nausea. They can also produce hormones that suppress your appetite, tricking your brain into thinking you're not hungry even when your body needs the fuel. It's a cruel trick because it compounds the problem of fatigue and weight loss. You're not eating enough, so you lose weight and have no energy, which makes you less active, which further suppresses your appetite. It can become a very difficult cycle to break. So, if you find that your reliable morning routine of toast and tea now feels like a chore, or if your favorite foods suddenly don't taste the way they should, pay attention to that. It's another piece of the puzzle. Now, we've covered 3 very important signs that your body might be trying to tell you something: that deep, unrelenting fatigue, unexplained weight loss, and a noticeable shift in your appetite. These are the kind of background signals that can be easy to attribute to just having a bad week or slowing down. But as we've discussed, they have very real, physiological causes that deserve our attention. In our next conversation, we'll move on to talk about some more specific physical sensations you might experience upon waking, including one that has to do with how your body handles the business of repair and renewal while you sleep. It's fascinating and absolutely vital for us to understand. It's good to be back with you. When we last spoke, we were talking about those quieter, more general signals your body might send in the morning: the deep fatigue, the unexplained weight loss, and that shift in your appetite. Those are the whispers, the subtle taps on the shoulder. But sometimes, our bodies need to speak a little more clearly to get our attention, and that's what we're going to turn to now. These next signs are a bit more direct, and while they can be linked to many things that are far less serious, in the context of everything else we've discussed, they become incredibly important pieces of the overall picture. So, let's talk about the 4th sign: waking up with pain. Now, I know what you're thinking. At our age, waking up with a pain somewhere is just part of the morning routine. And you're absolutely right. We're well acquainted with the arthritis in a knee or the stiff lower back that loosens up after we've moved around a bit. That's what I'd call maintenance pain. It's predictable, it's manageable, and we know its source. The kind of pain I'm referring to is different. It's a new pain, one you can't explain by a day spent gardening or a mattress that's seen better days. It's a persistent ache or a deep discomfort that seems to have taken up residence in a specific area and doesn't really go away. It might be in your back, but not the usual muscular kind. It could be a headache that's there when you wake up, which is unusual for you. Or perhaps it's a discomfort in your abdomen that lingers. Why does cancer sometimes announce itself with pain, especially first thing in the morning? Well, a growing tumor can press on nerves, bones, or organs. During the night, when you're still for hours, that pressure can build up or become more noticeable without the distractions of the day. When you first wake up and become aware of your body, that's when you feel it most acutely. It's not the kind of pain that's a sharp, fleeting twinge. It's more of a constant, unwelcome guest. So, if you notice a new, persistent pain that's lasted for a few weeks and doesn't have a clear explanation, it's not something to just grin and bear. It's your body pointing a finger at a specific location and saying, "Hey, pay attention over here." It's a powerful reason to get it checked out, just for your own peace of mind. Now, this leads us to our 5th and final sign, and this is one that often causes a lot of concern, and rightly so. It's waking up to discover what we'll call unexplained bleeding or discharge. This can understandably be alarming, but let's talk about it calmly and clearly. This could show up in a few different ways. For men, it might be noticing a bit of blood in the urine first thing in the morning. For women, it could be unexpected bleeding after menopause, which is something that should always be discussed with a doctor. For anyone, it could be coughing up a small amount of blood-tinged phlegm into the sink or discovering blood when you use the bathroom. The reason this happens is that some cancers can cause fragile, new blood vessels to form as the tumor grows. These vessels can be very delicate and easily irritated or broken. A cough in the morning might be enough to rupture a tiny vessel in the lung, leading to blood in the phlegm. A tumor in the colon or bladder can irritate the lining and cause bleeding that you then notice. It's a very direct signal that something is not right with the tissue in that part of your body. While there are other, less serious conditions that can cause similar symptoms, like a urinary tract infection or hemorrhoids, the key word here is unexplained. If you can't attribute it to a known cause, it is a sign that demands a professional evaluation. It's your body's most direct way of sending an alert. So, there we have them. We've walked through 5 important signs you might notice when you wake up: the profound fatigue, the unexplained weight loss, the shift in your appetite, a new and persistent pain, and any unexplained bleeding. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, but couldn't any one of these things be caused by a dozen other, simpler problems? And you are 100% correct. That is the most important thing to remember. Fatigue could be a thyroid issue. Weight loss could be a sign of a metabolic change. Pain could be a pinched nerve. The point of our conversation today is not for you to diagnose yourself. The point is to empower you to become a better, more informed observer of your own health. It's about recognizing when these signals, especially if more than one of them appears together, are significant enough to warrant a conversation with your doctor. It's about moving from a feeling of vague worry to a place of proactive understanding. In our final part of this conversation, we're going to talk about exactly what to do with this information, how to approach that conversation with your doctor, what you can expect, and, most importantly, why taking that step is the greatest act of kindness and strength you can offer yourself. It's a conversation about hope and action, and I look forward to finishing our talk with you. Well, here we are, finishing up our conversation. We've covered a lot of important ground together, talking about those 5 signs your body might use to get your attention in the morning. But I think the most important part of our talk is right now. Because knowing what to look for is one thing, but knowing what to do with that knowledge, that's where the real power lies. It's the difference between feeling worried and feeling empowered. So, let's say you've noticed one of these signs, or perhaps a combination of them, and that little voice in your head has gotten a bit too persistent to ignore. What's the very next step? It's not to panic. It's not to jump on the internet and fall down a rabbit hole of worst-case scenarios. The very next step is to pick up the phone and schedule an appointment with your doctor. I know, for some of us, that's easier said than done. We don't want to be a bother. We tell ourselves the doctor is busy with sicker people. We worry we'll be seen as complainers. I want to give you permission, right here and now, to let all of that go. You are not a bother. Your health is just as important as anyone else's. And when it comes to your well-being, you are the foremost expert on your own body. You are the one who lives in it every single day. A doctor has medical training, but you have the lived experience. Together, you make a powerful team. Now, walking into that doctor's office can feel a bit daunting, so let me give you a simple way to prepare that will make you feel confident and heard. My advice is to take a small notepad with you. In the days leading up to your appointment, just jot down a few notes. You don't need a formal report. Just write down the specific symptom, when you first noticed it, and how often it happens. For instance, you might write, waking up extremely tired for about 3 weeks, even with 8 hours of sleep, or noticed I've lost about 8 pounds since last month without trying, or new, dull ache in my right side that's there every morning. Why is this so helpful? Well, when we're in the moment, sometimes we get flustered. We might forget an important detail, or we might downplay what we're feeling. Having a few notes in your hand is like having a cheat sheet. It ensures you communicate clearly and that you don't leave out anything that might be important. It tells your doctor that you're a proactive partner in your own healthcare. It turns a vague "I don't feel well" into a specific, actionable starting point for a conversation. And that's what this is, a conversation. Your doctor will likely ask you more questions, and based on what you describe, they might suggest some tests. This is where I want to reassure you. Tests are not something to be feared. They are tools. They are the way we move from a question to an answer. A blood test, a scan, a referral to a specialist, these are all steps on the path to clarity. Whether the tests reveal something simple or something more complex, you are now moving from uncertainty towards knowledge. And no matter what that knowledge is, it puts you back in the driver's seat of your own health. Because here is the most important truth I want to leave you with: catching any health issue early, and that certainly includes cancer, is the single greatest advantage we have. Early detection opens up more options. It often means simpler, less invasive treatments. It dramatically increases the chances of a full and successful recovery. By listening to your body and taking that first brave step to see your doctor, you are giving yourself the very best possible gift, the gift of time and the gift of choice. You are not being dramatic, you are being smart. You are not giving in to fear, you are embracing hope and proactive care. So, as we wrap up, I want you to carry this feeling of empowerment with you. Your body has a remarkable way of communicating with you. You now know how to listen a little more closely to a few of its most important morning messages. Remember, small actions can lead to big outcomes for your health and your happiness. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Maybe you have a story about a time you listened to your body and it made all the difference. Or perhaps you have a question. Sharing our experiences is how we learn and support each other. If you found this conversation helpful, please give this video a like. It helps others in our community find it too. And consider subscribing to the channel for more honest, helpful talks about thriving in these wonderful years. Thank you for your time and your trust. Remember, your health is your wealth, and you are well worth taking care of. Here's to listening, to taking action, and to living your life with vitality and peace of mind.